What are we? We are nothing but simple average Indians. The Abduls, the Johns, the Raghus of this world of India and more. Meet Abhi, my name is Renu. Yeah, of course, we're different generations. And today what we're trying to do is basically talk a bit about sports. And because you might ask me what right do I have, except for the fact that when I was, say, what do you call it, from the age of 3 to 17, my life was sports. So in a small way, in my own little way, I know the pains of sport, competitive sport, at a very young level, at a small level. So every time one sees sports people being lambasted, being taken off, or whenever they fail to perform, or the country we fail to perform, immediately there's an uproar. Sometimes it hurts. And somebody has to talk. It's not something in defense of anything. And it's pure perspectives. It's for understanding, and people feel like understanding fairness. It's each individual discussion, but not one would take the effort. Yeah, talking generally, if you talk about the overall context of the country, socio-cultural, economic, and so on and so forth, yes, there are a lot of things. Yeah, be not hard on maybe sports administration, rampant corruption, grassroots level, all that. And I don't say no. And one is not wishing that away. But neither are they excuses. But big or small, in different ways, they exist in every country of India. So are there anything which is kind of, what do you call it, more specific to a South Asian culture, which also contributes? Now, you were asking me some time back about, we were discussing, and obviously this is not something which is like, thought of right now. We kind of have thought about it, and it's a kind of stage managed show where he is going to be like a help me prompt me by certain things. Talking about genetics. Genetics plays a large role. We can't wish it away. That's not an excuse. Sports, especially track, field, any kind of body sports, requires a certain high degree of physical traits, speed, movement, the ability of the body to hold in what you call it oxygen, strength of your muscles, the motion speeds, a whole lot of things. And it's the truth that certain genetic stocks have it more. You can't say no to it, there's no excuse. You look at today, you look at the Olympics, you look at certain races are doing well in certain areas, in certain other things, maybe certain genetic codes, etc. To that extent, the South Asian physique, for certain kind of track and field events, or most field events, is not acute. It doesn't have that. It's like you're already running with a huge handicap. That's part and parcel of the game. You take a look. You have the Caucasian race, you have the Negroid race, you have the Sino races, you have South Asian, you have the Arabic, etc. So that definitely comes into play. Then the other thing that we were talking about was, the usual thing that said is, oh, we are a country of 1.22 billion. But even a country like Trinidad, you look at it, size has got nothing to do with it. Size has got nothing to do with it. Actually, sometimes it can be a big handicap. Now, if you truly look at it, you look at China. China is the only nation, I think, which has got a huge population, is doing very well. But you've also got to remember, the sports there is regime control. Okay? It is like right in the beginning, it is people make a full career of sports right from childhood under government supervision. Okay? It is considered a matter of national pride, okay? And it's an effort which the government is involved right from the beginning. And most likely, people who have the talent or the potential are spotted right in the beginning, and they don't have any other say. The moment such a kind of system collapses, as you would have seen in the USSR, look at where USSR has slipped. So yes, population helps, all that is true. When you have such regimented, that way they do well. You have easier than earlier. Then the other side is, when you are a very small country, okay, what happens is there is only so much of space, so much of people. So it's much more easier to spot talent and much more easier to focus. The closest we have to that extent is what I say, Sri Lanka. For example, I'm sure Sri Lanka is going through up an Olympian or two, or who's a gold medalist. There was a lady who is an athlete, brilliant sprinter. I think she won a silver or something. It's easier. Trinidad it's easier. Plus they're Pacific out there. All right? When you talk about Trinidad. Then comes the developed countries, which are fairly low in population, but huge on space and wealth and infrastructure. And it's a combination of factors. So when you just this argument about 1.22 billion doesn't really seem to make sense. Then look at the topography. Now you see people from, let's say, the African countries, like let's say Ethiopia or Kenya or various other places, doing well in certain kind of sports like long distance, endurance running. Now India is, I guess, one of those few countries which really doesn't have any absolutely inhospitable places. It's a few, like possibly Ladakh or maybe the deep deserts of Rajasthan. Otherwise, most places, the physical conditions are not that tough. That over generations, over years, over centuries, people have been, the topography is also, and weather has helped them. Yeah, coming with that, now that point about weather. Weather of this country is also not something which really encourages sports. Okay? It doesn't, and it's not a high altitude country all over. High altitudes provides more, your lungs develop the capacity to take in more oxygenation happens except specific spots. So the topography is also a rather equable topography, which is not really made us over generations, over centuries. And that's important in sports and how we are built as a people. Okay. Then we were talking about the social ego and cultural, what is it? Ego and cultural needs. Yeah, the point is, what drives us to have such expectations of sports people? Is it because, is it because we love the sport, or is it because we want to be seen as winners? I have a feeling, and I'm sure a lot of us know about it, that we love to be only winners. It's not so much love of the sports. Okay. Probably the moment we kind of take a hard deep look and say we love sports. And when we love sports, the measures will come. The point of the matter, the fact of the matter is, this country by and large is not a country which is a very sportsy country over generations. Over our forefathers, hundreds of thousands of years. Our sports were always a little different. With archery maybe, just chess maybe. Okay. Anything which required maybe eyesight and so on and so forth, or in the head or whatever. Okay. Then we talk about the other important thing is, I think it's also that degree of what we call, yes, national pride is good. But national pride, as in because we want to be seen as something we are not, or because we are we're having a lot of insecurities about ourselves, then you're putting the pressure on people. Alright? Now, the Western world, or the so-called first world, calls us third world countries, or calls India a third world country, or a South Asian country a third world country. So what? Does that make us third world? It's their definition. Just be happy about ourselves. We don't have to do anything to be, number one in their eyes. So most of the times, our big, huge disappointments on our sport or anything is because we want to be seen there with them. First of all, they've drawn the conclusions. We have to have that belief that we're good. We don't have to do things to be, and we're always putting ourselves down by doing it. Okay, we have it in us, and one has to remember that we're just a 60-year-old country after hundreds of years of suppression. And in 60 years, we've achieved a lot on various fronts. But when we look at, some things like sports, anything to do with performance, physical performance, requires time. requires certain bodily traits. Now overnight they can't happen. We need the patience. We need the patience. Okay? And it's also the fact that as one of our former cricketers who is now the chairman of chairman of the selection board said, it's about a huge middle class expectation. We want to be upwardly mobile. We want to be seen where we are not. We want to be seen there. Okay? It's like the caste system here. Everybody is aspiring to be there. You know? So what happens is immediate. I mean, everything wants is a state of immediacy we want. We don't understand. Secondly, what happens is, when I say we don't understand, what we also need to understand is, are we really an outdoorsy people? I mean, to us, 99.99% of this country doesn't go outdoors, doesn't take up sports. Okay? Whereas when you look at the Western countries or countries like Australia, South Africa, etc., it's a part, in a way of life. It's a part and parcel of life. The moment they finish sport, keep the work, they're out. Weekends are spent out. We don't do that. We don't encourage our children to do that. But overnight, suddenly, we want medals. It cannot happen. From childhood, and basically, yes, there what happens also one has to remember is, why we can't be an outdoorsy people also is a function of our weather. Blazing sun and so forth. Okay? We don't have a weather which is equable, which is pleasant, so we can go and sun and so on and so forth. Secondly, we have a huge population. We talk about size. Actually, that's how size is counterproductive. When size is so much, you've got so much of limited resources, you're always at work. You're not as automated. So where's your time for sport? Okay? That is another thing. One more thing is, you were saying, yeah. No, I mean, I thought also, so before that, I think what we should talk about is the fact that now we very intellectually kind of, we kind of believe, we place intellect on a pedestal. We believe anything from up here is like the worst. That's what is most important. Physicality or physical, anything to do with that is given a slightly infrared. You're a sportsman, okay. Because you rolling in the mola. But yeah, man, he's got IIT first rank. He's from IMA. He's done IAS. I mean, that's the culture we belong to. We might as well believe in that. Can we change ourselves before we take off on our people? Alright? That is one. And then look at parental support. Tell me how many of those parents actively encourage children to play. I mean, okay, fair enough, and we don't. We say no, studies come first. If any child is playing more often than not, what he pays for the parents. Why you play? Why you not with your books? Why you not studying? You're going to waste your life. How many of us actually have told people once at least in life, stop playing, that's a waste. Go do some studying or get serious in life. Or have we told people like, that boy or that girl is always at play, she's doing a lot of, she's constantly at sports, wonder what she's going to do in life. And how many times have we told our children to stop being in their company? I mean, all these factors matter. Okay. Now, and at the end of the day, every argument we have, even noted writers, etc., yes, they are defending other sports people, but by dragging in cricket. I mean, why? Cricket is another sport. Yes, every country has got its own heartbeat. They like to be happy with where they're doing well. So obviously there'll be a little more attention and focus, and it's also bringing in a lot of resources and infrastructure. So we can always defend other sports without immediately jumping on the cricket. It's required its own regimen. Okay? Now, I mean, that's all I want to say, So be fair to sports people. Okay? I mean, what we have to realize is maybe at the end of the day, as a people, as a culture, especially in South Asia, more in India, we have lost our right. We don't have a right to criticize our sports people because we are not supporting And you notice that most people who sit and criticize our sports people are people who have hardly stepped on a sports field for 15 minutes in any form. Okay? So they don't understand the pains and they criticize. So we have lost the right because sports have to come from within us. We are part of the collective mass. We are part of that 1.22 billion we're talking about. Yet we criticize. But so, if at all anybody has the right to criticize, it is government to a certain extent, because to a certain extent, wherever they can, they're providing the infrastructure. And from outside the country, anybody who is not a citizen of this country, who looks at us and says, yes, you guys are hopeless, or you guys are not doing with good sport, then our national pride should not get, hurt or rankled. We contribute to it. Let's face it. So, I think we should understand the pains of sports people, and that sports people don't come from anywhere else. We are not import them from within us. Only we can help us become a more sporty people who enjoy sports truly, who are outdoorsy, etc. Then, as a matter of fact, sports and medals all will automatically come. Well, I guess that's all we have to say. Thanks a lot.